welcome back. Mark is still with us. The group is Lead Mule, or half of Lead Mule. We're joined by Matt Briggio, who, Matt, you are the songwriter, more or less, for Lead Mule, are you not?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. For the most part.
Pretty much, he says. Pretty much.
In the previous segment, when we were talking with Rain Over St. Ambrose, they talked about how Corey would bring songs in, and then the group puts something on
Their
them.
own spin, yeah.
Same true?
Yeah, for sure. I've tried, like I got a little studio in my basement there, and I've tried playing all the parts myself, and they just sound like a bunch of me. The song's there, but I find it sounds a little more sterile than if the whole band puts their perceptive, how they feel about it. It's just their own stamp on it. It just brings its own. Everybody has their own flavor to bring to it. Stuff that I wouldn't think of. And that's what makes it what it is.
How long's Lead Mule?
I'd say about 3 years or so.
How did it happen?
Well, I was on a bit of a hiatus.
You had other things on your mind.
I had other things going on. I was fixing the house up and stuff. I had a lot of responsibilities with other things going on. And Mark comes along and he's why aren't you jamming anymore? Let's throw something together. I'm there if you need me. And I took him up on it, and we started, gathering people and playing.
And now here we are.
Yeah, it's really nice actually, because there was kind of a dead period going on there for a while, in general around here in Yarmouth when it comes to music. And Corey with Rain Over and stuff, he kind of ignited a little something, lit a fire, and got everybody kind of excited about it again. I know it got me motivated again to get back into things, and it's kind of healthier now.
Well, because as I mentioned earlier, Matthew was playing years ago in the local scene, and he was an inspiration to guys like me. And as he said, he was on a bit of a hiatus. He had moved to the city for a while there, had a couple of bands, but living in the city, it's more working to pay the bills. You don't really have the time that you need to really focus on music. And so after you moved back here, you were kind of more focusing on getting your house together and things like that, so you didn't really have the time. But
homebody, yeah.
Yeah, homebody. Eventually, we got you inspired again.
Yeah, definitely.
Before this program started tonight, having great conversations with you and with Mark and with Corey and with Kurt and Crystal, who will be coming up in the next segment. You're all good friends.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's important to have a healthy music community that gets along, because you're always going to be in a pickle. There's always going to be someone, you're always going to need these people. You can't live in a world where you burn bridges. You're going to need them at some point. Everybody's going to need somebody at some point in time. I think it's important to have a thriving music community, because especially in a small town where there's not very many of us, we got to be there for each other, and it's important. Friendship is important. I think being in a band is a lot like a marriage, in a sense. If you don't get along, it's going to translate on stage. You're not going to look forward to practicing. You're not going to give it your all, and people see that on stage, whether the band gets along, whether they like what they're doing. I think it's really important that everybody gets along.
But it's not only the band getting along with each other, the bands get along with each other.
Yeah, I think there was a time years ago where ego was getting in the way of a lot of bands, and it stifled production.
And progression.
Yeah.
Stifled a lot of things.
And
there's no need. You just why can't we all be friends?
Pretty much. And I've noticed over the last few years, especially like with Corey and myself, we've kind of broken down those barriers and brought them out and put them out on the table, if anything, to let people know, look, get your head out of there. Stop taking things so personal. We're all trying to do the same thing.
I think it's time to hear some Lead Mule. What are we going to hear?
This is a slower song. It's off of our new album that will be out in the spring of 2015. So thought we'd play a slower one. We usually, our set is pretty high energy.
Pretty rockin', yeah.
Yeah, so when we break this one out, it kind of slows things down a little bit, so I thought it'd be a kind of appropriate.
It's appropriate for a setting like this, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get the mic in position
Boom.
here. And,
There you go.
Right on. See, look at that.
Okay.
Nailed
And
it.
this one's called No One's Fault, and it's basically about accountability, I guess.
I guess so. You wrote it.
It's no one's fault, no one's fault but your own now. You came yourself through the first punch, it's over now. It's no one's fault, no one's fault but their own now. Gave the call, cast the first stone, it's over now. Underneath it's so dark and we're fighting to get out. All we need are the prophets to remind us we'll just die, just die. It's no one's fault, no one's fault but our own now. Against the law, drew the first gun, it's over now. Underneath it's so dark and we're fighting to get out. All we need are the prophets to remind us we'll just die, just die. Underneath it's so dark and we're fighting to get out. All we need are the prophets to remind us we'll just die. Underneath it's so dark and we're fighting to get out. All we need are the prophets to remind us we'll just die, just die, we'll die.
Mark, if that's a result of you going to Matt and saying, "Why aren't you jamming?" Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nailed it.
That was nice.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. That's all this guy, I tell you. Songwriter extraordinaire, Matthew Brigio.
Well, you're too much. You're too much. You're too kind.
First time you knew you liked music?
It's funny. Christmas songs. Just a little kid. My grandmother, she played organ around the house a lot. Stayed with my grandmother a lot. Christmas songs. I liked Christmas songs, and I wanted to learn how to play them. And that's the first stuff I started playing.
Wanted to learn how to play them on what?
At pianos, organs at the time. I didn't pick up guitar till I was about 14, I think. I remember listening to garage tapes on a Walkman that people would, you know, this is our band, we're playing this. And I couldn't believe that it was them doing that. They're making that music. And I was like, that's you guys? Yeah, man, we're in there jamming. I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. And that was, ever since that day, I was like, I want to do what you guys are doing. And we're kind of doing that ever since.
Yeah.
A little while ago, and I warned you I'd use this term, you said, I got to warm up, I've got fisherman hands.
I got fishing fingers right now, yeah. All this banding and baiting. It's fishing season right now, and it's the first week currently here, and yeah, it's fishing hands,
Fishing
carpal
hands.
tunnel.
Reign Over St. Ambrose is performing on Boxing Day at Dooley's.
Yep.
You're involved with the New Year's Levy.
That's right, yeah, we'll be playing the New Year's Levy this year. That'd be the New Year's Day.
New Year's 2015.
It'll be in the evening, so we'll give a chance for people to come around.
And where?
That's at the
Convention Center at the Grand.
At
Haley's,
at
or not,
the
yeah,
Grand,
yeah.
and so one of a number of groups.
Yep.
Yeah,
Are you going to get, I hope, a fair amount of time?
Hopefully.
yeah, I imagine.
But we've got plenty more things happening in 2015 for sure. We've got our new record coming out. We've got a ton of shows that we're going to be playing. We had a busy year last year. We played at the New Glasgow Jubilee, which is a favorite festival of ours. We went to Music Week, of course. We do all sorts of stuff, and I'm sure that the next year, 2015, will be equally as productive, if not more, for Lead Mule. So,
Let's say something about Music Week, because it's coming back to Yarmouth.
yeah,
I mean,
really
Yarmouth,
that's exciting.
what does it mean to you?
Well, it means we don't have to drive as far. No, I'm really excited that they seem to like doing it here. I mean, they did it 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
I found that the town didn't really catch on until the third year, that it was, and when it disappeared and left, I think a lot of people around here was like, oh, where's Music Week this year? They just thought it was supposed to happen here all the time, didn't realize that it moved from town to town. And I think now that they realize that, they're really grateful that it's coming back. And I'm grateful that it's coming back, and I'm sure a lot of musicians around
That was
here
the
are.
first year when Music Week was here in Yarmouth that Lead Mule played as a band.
Yeah, that's right.
Was Music Week, I believe, the first or second year. So I believe.
Yeah, before we were even Lead Mule. Yeah. We changed our name, yeah.
And so you get a chance to perform every time Music Week is on.